And welcome back to Blow Up the Team. Uh, Today we're doing the Bears NFL draft analysis, but real quick before we get started, we will be changing the format of our post this week. So instead of doing two a day, one NFL draft recap and one preseason baseball. Matt, what are you calling your series at this point?
Like just preseason baseball.
Okay, instead of doing one of those each a day and having to pump out 10 videos a week, that's largely unsustainable for us, especially because our schedules don't line up, perfectly.
Yeah, I
So,
was like, I know, I was just straight burning out. Like,
so we will be moving to a every other day kind of deal. So today, obviously, is the Chicago Bears, and tomorrow, do you know where you go tomorrow, man? I think Cubs tomorrow.
I think, yeah, I think I did Cubs first.
So I think it'll be Cubs tomorrow, but there will not be an NFL video out tomorrow, and there will not be another baseball video out today. So we're going down to one video a day, and we're gonna kind of slowly work our way through it that way. If it comes out that the MLB season is supposed to start up before our projected end date, um, for our videos, we will obviously adjust the schedule as needed so that we can make sure that everything is done before the season starts. Otherwise, there's no longer preseason grades.
Yeah. So
So
if shit goes, that they just like, yeah. By the way, season's starting next week. I'll figure it out.
yeah, what are you gonna do if they really say, yeah, season starts next week and you got like 15 teams left?
I mean, it'll be like spring training, and so really I won't give a shit because I'll just,
It's
you
still
know, do.
preseason.
Yeah, it's preseason. Like, yeah, exactly. Like, what the fuck? It's a bunch of minor leaguers playing each other.
Fair enough. So, I think that was the only thing really we needed to say, right? That was pretty much it.
Yeah, it's pretty much it.
So, as we get the video started, make sure to leave a like and subscribe and comment and all that good stuff, and check out our Discord and our social media in the description down below. Also, in the description, any clips that I play, I have a Chicago Bears highlight video downloaded from a gentleman on YouTube. The link to the original video will be in the description down below, so make sure to check that out. But I think it's now time to go talk about the wonderful, historic Chicago Bears football team.
Yeah,
Um,
wonderful and historic. Exactly what people think about when they
yeah,
think Chicago Bears these days.
obviously. I mean, what else could you
They're on a
possibly know?
historic success run with their drafts of recent years. No misses.
So,
You got quarterback of the future.
let's just start with a little recap of the 2019 season, so we can kind of look at what they would need in the draft, so I can,
Oh, can I?
properly.
Can I?
You can try.
Hot garbage.
You want to amend that statement a little bit?
Mostly garbage. You have Khalil Mack, so that was fun to watch.
Okay. So, in 2019, let's look at their offense. There was clearly a tale of two different teams. Their offense was almost on unheard of levels of bad. They were 29th in yards per game, 25th in passing, 27th in rushing, and 29th in scoring. So they just simply did not have a functioning offensive unit for a large part of the year. Um, they were quite frankly, they were like, I think the only three teams worse than them on offense were on scoring were, Matt, do you remember what I said? It was like the Redskins, the
It was Redskins. It was
only team I
fuck.
really remember is the Redskins. Hold on, this is gonna annoy me now. I gotta go check this out. Um, but
Bro, this didn't
overall,
make it to your notes.
it was just not good, huh?
Didn't make it to your notes. Hmm.
Well, because I wasn't gonna specifically say what three teams are worse than them, but I decided I wanted. You got a problem with that?
Yes. Jets, Redskins, and Steelers.
Thank you.
Did not realize
Um,
the Steelers were that bad.
no, well, because everybody was hurt.
True.
But no, no, I swear points was a different three teams. Yeah, no, it was Bengals, Jets, and Redskins, man.
Oh, sorry, points. Yeah, no, I was looking at
I was like, the Steelers
yards
didn't
per
sound
game.
right. I'm like, hold up.
Yeah,
Um,
that's what I was thinking. I was looking at the yards per game on accident.
yeah, no, but Bengals, Jets, Redskins. So those are the three teams that the Bears were compared to on offense this season. So that's not what you like to see. And so off-season moves they made, kind of trying to remedy that. They did sign Jimmy Graham to a 2-year contract. Now, tight end I don't think was the biggest problem on this offense. It definitely has the potential to give them some upside with a veteran tight end coming in like that, but he's also kind of been, I would say, mildly inconsistent and proven to be so. I think that's being a little generous on my part, saying that he's only been moderately inconsistent for the past few years. It just seems like he hasn't really been able to kick into that extra gear, be that complete game changer on a consistent basis. Um, but they also released Trey Burton to accompany that Jimmy Graham move, so they didn't really gain a whole lot of depth there. And then they released Taylor Gabriel. They traded for Nick Foles. Now I think that's the most interesting move for me. They gave up a fourth round pick, so in my opinion, you're getting a Super Bowl MVP for a fourth round pick. That's a steal of a trade. Now there is a high chance he's going to wind up backing up Mitch Trubisky to at least start the season. Matt and I were actually taking bets earlier on how long he'll stay starter of that team. I think Matt settled on week 2.
Preseason week 1 or 2.
Okay, so I think that they're gonna try to give this kid Mitch a chance. Honestly, I don't actually think that Nick Foles is there to really completely take over the starting job. I think it's more about trying to push Mitch Trubisky to be better.
Push Trubisky to do
and,
better,
and
and then
give him somebody
if
to
he
learn
doesn't work
from.
out,
Give him somebody to learn from.
yeah.
So that's a good move for them because at the very least they have a very, very solid backup that can step in and run the offense should something happen to Mitch Trubisky. They also signed wide receiver Ted Ginn. I like that signing for them. It kind of gives them somebody to open up the field a little bit and create some noise. And they still have Allen Robinson and Anthony Miller. I really like Allen Robinson personally. I don't know a whole lot about Anthony Miller, but I really like Allen Robinson. I think that gives them a solid it gives them solid wide receiving core. I think like it's not outstanding. They're not going to blow guys away, but I would say it's solid. But it all comes down to can they get the ball? Can Mitch Trubisky get them the ball essentially? And that's going to have to wait to be seen. He's shown an inconsistent ability to be able to do that. So it's all going to be about how he performs this year. But moving over to that defense has the potential to be absolutely stifling. And they showed it this year. They were 8th in yards per game, 9th against the pass, 9th against the run, and 4th in scoring allowed. So that is an absolutely elite level defense. The 4th in scoring allowed was only to the Patriots, the Ravens, and the Bills. So a completely different tier of teams that they're being compared to there. They did not have a first round pick this year because of the piece that makes that defense just that much better in Khalil Mack. That was part of the Khalil Mack trade. They re-signed Danny Trevathan at linebacker to be able to kind of keep a part of the core together, but they did wind up releasing Leonard Floyd, which they then followed up by a signing of Robert Quinn to kind of try to fill in that spot. They also released Prince Amukamara, who was who he was an aging corner. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I don't know how many more years he has left in the league, if he even has any more. So that will remain to be seen. But I think that's all my 2019 Bears notes. I'm sorry to tell you that it is definitely the tale of two different teams. You've got an elite level defense that's just ready to compete now, and then you've got an offense that is floundering, trying to find out who's going to be who's the star is going to be. So that being said, draft picks. First. They didn't have a first round pick like I mentioned, and they didn't trade into the first round, but they did have a selection fairly early in the second round. I'd say that's actually more mid-second round. His name is Cole Kmet out of Notre Dame. He plays tight end. That was a little bit questionable for me to go tight end with your first pick of the draft, your personal first pick of the draft, to be your tight end number 2. It'd be one thing if that's going to be your starting tight end. He could be, he could help lead that offense, but he is already going to be a tight end too. Obviously, he can still have an impact, and I expect him to have an impact. It looks like he's got, he's big. He's got some average length and big hands and good speed, and he has the ability to go up for and come down with contested catches. So he has all the tools in his toolbox to be able to be an impactful player on this roster from essentially day one. And he also has been shown to flash some deep threat capabilities to help kind of open up that offense a little bit. He may not be an overpowering blocker, but he can get into position well. But again, I just don't know to go with your first pick in the draft the guy that you're going to be looking for to make the biggest impact. That's the guy that you're the highest on of everybody else that you drafted. To go for a secondary player and in tight end in a you know, when the wide receiving core, in my opinion, show, especially if Allen Robinson were to go down with injury, knock on wood, is showing to have holes in it. I would have personally had rather seen them go for a wideout here, kind of give Mitch Trubisky somebody, even if it's just kind of a slot receiver. Although they already have slot receivers, so I don't really know that a slot receiver fits here. But the Bears are in an interesting spot because they've got a young quarterback who's shown some promise, but hasn't been able to kind of consistently show that ability to continue to produce. And then they've got like they had a rookie running back last year, whose name is escaping me right now, which is kind of annoying. Do you remember his name, Matt? I told you his name.
Yes, and I'm trying to think of it right now.
David Montgomery.
Yeah, yeah.
That one I kept
I had
up.
him on I had him on my team actually.
Yeah, David Montgomery, he had a solid year last year, and you got Tariq Cohen coming out as your running back too. So you got good options there. It's just the wide receiver position. I mean, you've got Allen Robinson, Anthony Miller showed some flashes, but I don't know. I don't know too much about him. I only heard his name a couple of times last year. And then Ted Ginn is, he's a threat, but he's an aging threat. And I would have liked to have seen them go and pick up a wide receiver earlier in this draft, even if he wasn't going to be a starter right away. Um, that position seems to be much more of a position of need for me, in my opinion. And then I also feel like they could have went back and re-signed Trey Burton if they wanted to, instead of allowing him to walk. Um, and plus they had already signed Jimmy Graham, so it just seems a little bit questionable to me. Um, Moving on to the next pick, they got a cornerback out of Utah by the name of Jalen Johnson. Um, he's an effective press corner, from what I was able to find, and he's got average size, length, but he's got good speed. He ran a 4.5 40. Um, Good job on breaking on underneath routes, and he plays the ball well in zone coverage. Um, However, he does have some inconsistent footwork, and he tends to allow separation and break transitions. So he's showing like he could have some issues keeping with some of these elite level route runners and speedsters that the NFL has. So it'll be interesting to see how he fits into that already uh, stocky defense that they've got in Chicago. Um, he's currently listed as a backup cornerback, but with the loss of Prince Mukamara, I feel like he could find the place in the system fairly well. So I don't hate the pick here. I think that the replacement of Prince was something that needed to happen, and this guy fit the bill. I don't know that he's going to become, a lockdown corner and, you know, be on that level of elite corners, but I definitely think that was a solid pickup for them, and he'll be able to slot into the system, I feel like, and be able to step up. And if God forbid, someone gets injured, he'll be able to step up and fill in a hole there. But moving on to the next one, Trevis Gibson. Um, he's got good size and length, and he seems like he's going to be a disruptive run defender. He's got the quickness to be able to get into the backfield and make plays happen, and kind of uh, um, just kind of be able to step up and be that kind of run stopper on that defensive line if they need it. Obviously, that defensive line has already got some names on it, and just that defense in general has got some names on it. Obviously, we brought up Khalil Mack already, so I don't know where he'll fit in terms of depth chart for that team. I could see him being able to if he shows some promise, I could see him stepping up and getting some valuable playing time this year. But it will all come down to how he's able to adjust to playing at that on an NFL level. Um, if I remember correctly, he went to a pretty small school, so it's kind of hard to know. Yeah, he went to Tulsa, so it's going to be hard to know how he's going to be able to transition to an NFL speed and stuff like that. But he's definitely got the potential to be able to step up and make some plays for this defense. But again, they went defense here on a plus. They didn't have a pick in the third or fourth round, and then this was their first pick in the fifth round. So, you know, two of the first three picks were defense, and it just doesn't seem like they were banking heavy on the draft this year. They had two second round picks, and then 3 fifths and 2 sevenths. So they didn't have a first round pick, and they didn't have any picks in rounds 3 or 4 either. So doesn't seem like they were they either they weren't too high on the draft class this year, or they kind of lost their picks through other trades here and there, and it just didn't feel like they didn't feel like it was worth trading up. I have no idea. I'm not in that draft room, but um, it seems a little weird to me that they went such a that they didn't go and select a wide receiver until this guy that we're about to talk about right now, Darnell Mooney. Um, he was a undersized slot receiver, but he does have outstanding speed. He ran a 4.38 40. Um, he has inconsistent hands, and he can't regularly come down with 50-50 balls because of his size. He's just not a very a big-bodied guy. But he can help stretch out the defense because of the speed. He also has been listed as a third string wide receiver, so he's definitely, I guess, what they would consider to be a kind of a project piece to kind of see if he's able to pan out or not. And if not, I'm sure he'll be able to find a place with somebody that speed, maybe as a kick returner or punt returner, something like that. He'll be able to make an impact on the team in some manner, I'm sure. But it may just not be at wide receiver. Um, but that is the only wide receiver that they selected in this draft, and it was late in the fifth round. So it's going to be interesting to me to see. Mitch Trubisky's already shown inconsistencies with being able to get his guys the ball, and it doesn't seem like they really went out and made, other than the Ted Ginn move, it doesn't seem like and they lost Taylor Gabriel as well. So it was kind of like they doesn't really seem like they went out and got him anybody to get the ball to. I mean, he's already been inconsistent, and if you're not going to give him the help that he needs, that somebody can go get that ball, I mean, it doesn't seem like they're going to be primed for a sudden Mitch Trubisky turnaround, in my opinion. The other pick I want to talk about really quickly was Kindle Vildor. I'm sorry if I butchered that name. Uh, Cornerback. Um, He's got good length, but he's a little short. He's shown glimpses of ability to disrupt wide receivers off the line, which is going to be big. Obviously, being able to, anytime you can stop a wide receiver from getting into that break early, that's going to be a good sign. Um, but he does unfortunately have below average ability to change direction quickly. I don't know why his clip video doesn't want to load. Um, what's going on here?
It appears that it doesn't want to work.
Yeah, I guess the ESPN doesn't like him. I don't know. There you go. Um, yeah, so below average ability to change direction quickly. That's going to become a glaring problem, I feel like, as he advances into the NFL. If he can't find a way to strengthen this, and obviously NFL strength and conditioning coaches, they will find ways to help him with this and help him compensate for this. But some of those guys, some of those elite route running guys, can put that to the test. And if he's not able to go out um, and make stuff happen because of that, and he gets lost on a break, that could hurt the defense. So. Um, uh, it's a little worrying to me. Again, he's late. He is a fifth round draft pick, and I believe I'm gonna check because I don't want to. Yeah, corner. Is he even listed on the depth charts? He may not even be listed on the depth charts. Am I tripping, Matt? You don't see him, do you? Oh, here he is, fourth string,
Yeah.
right cornerback. So, um, it's definitely a project piece. There's somebody that just kind of took the flower on and see what he's able to do. I don't know that this pick will ever wind up what this pick will be able to kind of turn into. Um, it just seems like a case where from some of the I did go and research some of his other highlight videos, and it just seemed like a case where the 40 speed was lying. He ran a 4.44 40 time, but it just doesn't seem like he plays that fast. It doesn't seem like he's able to actually play at that speed. Um, he does have big hands and good ball skills, but he just has some inconsistent tackling and struggles to get through blocks at times. And so, like, this is definitely somebody that they've taken a flyer on. And the fact that I'm stretching so much to talk about a guy who's going to be fourth on the depth chart at cornerback should say something about the draft. The draft for them was not something that they put a lot of stock in. It doesn't look like they really had too many guys that they were looking to go after in the draft. Um, So they're in their seventh round picks. They went offensive tackle and offensive guard, which are both technically listed as third stringers right now. So again, just more flyers that they're taking on guys that could maybe, with some work, develop into stuff. But other than those first two guys that I brought up, Cole Kmet and Jalen Johnson, I would say those are the two guys that will have some sort of an impact this year. And then I would give Trevis Gibson kind of an outside chance. Um, Depending on what he's able to show. Because again, coming out of a smaller school, you don't really know what to expect. He could come out and shine, but other than that, I mean, I think a lot of these guys are project pieces that may or may not even still be in the league in a couple of years. So that this was a, you know what I'm going to say? I think it was a little bit of a lackluster draft from the Bears. Maybe not a popular opinion, but I just don't see the pick that they made here that's going to be a complete game changer for them. They did make other moves in their offseason. This is not an offseason grade, by the way. Their offseason's completely different from the draft grade. I think offseason they did make some smart moves, signing Jimmy Graham, trading for Nick Foles. I think those are smart moves. But specifically for the draft, talking about the draft and grading the draft, I think I kind of have to go here and I don't
I
even
guess think
know.
about it, because like they their second round pick, their highest round pick they have is a guy that they're not going to be using. Like the Jimmy Graham's going to be the starting tight end, and
Well, they will probably run some two tight end sets and
probably, but
stuff like
like
that. So he'll
again, are they
be
going to be trying to prioritize him or Jimmy
Oh,
Graham? Like I
well,
just don't
exactly.
see.
Like he'll be an impact player, but he's not gonna be like the number one guy. You know what I mean?
No, yeah. Like
And
obviously, first year in the league, you're never like most people aren't going to be number one guys, but he just feels like he's not going to make as big of an impact as I don't think he's. I don't think he's going to make that big of an impact.
I'm
Like
just gonna call
maybe
it as it is. I'm just gonna call it as it is. The Bears needed a lot of help on offense. Now, I'm not saying
and
the
they
whole team needs a lot of help because in the grand scheme of things, that defense is very solid. You've got a lot of good potential on offense. Very young, lots of room to grow. But that offense just straight up needed help, and it feels like at least in the draft they kind of whiffed on that for me. I don't see the guy here. I mean, Cole Kmet definitely has some potential. I could see him, being a good guy to have. But I don't think that he's gonna be the guy that, you know, like I don't think he's gonna be like a Zach Ertz, Travis Kelsey type tight end where the defense looks at it as like we got a game plan around him. This is the guy we have to stop. And
No,
you know
100% he's
that
not going to be. Like it's like this is a second round draft pick who, solid looking player, but like at the end of the day, like it's just nothing like game changing about their draft. Their draft is like okay, you got a couple nice things and then a bunch of projects.
and
But
it just
it's not
seems
like
like they
they're not filling holes. They got a bunch of extra defense.
I mean they did fill some holes, but it was more like backup roster fillers kind of things. Like they didn't go out and get the big splash like in the draft. They're like, oh, I'm interested to see how he fits in this year.
I
Um,
would say it does suck because they didn't get a chance to have a first round pick, but I mean the reason why they don't have a first round pick is a pretty good reason with
yeah,
Khalil
listen,
Mack.
if you give up whatever you have to be, Khalil Mack when he came to this team 2018, when they was it 2018 that they traded for him?
Yeah,
It
I
was
think
2018,
honestly their
right?
whole 2018 season was because they're just on the adrenaline rush of having Khalil Mack.
Khalil Mack played his ass off. Oh, nice little crunch from your chips there. Um, I think Khalil Mack he was a fantastic pickup for this Bears team, and he rejuvenated that defense, and it's been showing for the past couple of years. But I am in terms of this draft and how they did this year, I just don't see the guy. They needed to find a guy, whether it was in the off season or in the draft. They needed to find a guy that like a defense looks at on in film and looks at when they're game planning and they say this is the guy we need to stop. This is the guy we need to watch out for. And looking at their offensive roster, I'll even pull it up really quickly. I don't see the guy here that you look at and you say this kid is a monster. I have to watch out for him. I just don't see it. That doesn't mean he's not here. I could be blind. I could be completely sleeping on somebody. David Montgomery showed a lot of promise last year. Absolutely. Rookie out of Iowa State, and what did he put up? Like 890 yards. Solid running back, solid guy, but he's not on that that kind of level where like you're gonna just turn around and hand the ball every snap seemingly and just let him just go and eat. So where is the guy on this offense? I mean, you've got Mitch Trubisky, David Montgomery, Allen Robinson. Anthony Miller, Ted Ginn, Jimmy Graham, and Cole Kmet as your second tight end. Which of those guys is the defense going to look at and be scared that they have to line up against? I don't see that guy, and I think that every team needs at least one of those guys. And with them not having it, I think that this could be a rough year to be Mitch Trubisky because his job could be under fire from Nick Foles realistically if he's not performing well. And I don't think he's got the tools to be able to open it up the way that he needs to, in my opinion. So for their draft grade for this year, I'm borderline C minus D plus range. Do you have an opinion?
Just give it the D plus. It's not a good draft. Like just.
I'm trying not to be too harsh, man.
It wasn't a good draft. I mean, like, I feel like obviously you don't want to shit all over the guys because these guys are good players who got drafted to the NFL. Like they got way further than anyone else is gonna go. But at the end of the day, like their picks, obviously they didn't get the first rounder, but none of the picks that they made really felt like, oh yeah, that's the guy. I feel like other teams had better steals in the second and third round than they did. Like I feel like your
I think the
problem is
fact
the
that they
offense.
did,
I think they're banking a lot on Mitch Trubisky turning around or on Nick Foles being able to open up the long play because that was their big weakness last year. Is every team playing against them could play their defense just focusing on the short pass because their short pass was all they had. And all they had was short pass and running because Mitch Trubisky, like you saw a couple deep throws, like those are probably the only deep throws of the season that he got because like he could not throw deep. You could you'd have one or two guys running short slots, and but you knew that like 80% of the time the guys going long weren't getting hit.
Yeah, honestly,
Look
it's a perfect
at that. There's
example
a
of this
guy
play.
running.
The guy
Look at that play.
look at the top of the screen here. I can't see who this is because it's kind of grainy. He's completely blown coverage. There was a good like. Here, I'm gonna run it back one more time so I can point out exactly what I'm looking at.
He's gone. Like, he's just gone.
Look at the top of the screen here. Right here. He should be hitting him right here, right over top. You can tell me that safety's coming over, but he's got plenty of space here to lay that pass in. He's just not even looking at him. That's clearly not his first read. I understand that. Here, he's now taking a couple steps back. Guy's still got plenty of green in front of him. He's created 5 yards of separation. He should at least be attempting to hit that throw 9 times out of 10. He's completely open on that side of the field.
The safety hasn't even fucking moved. Like it's just like they know what they're gonna do. And by the way, I'm pretty sure that the guy on the left side of the screen there, the defender you see on the left side,
right here.
That guy, I'm pretty sure that guy was covering the other guy going long, and like didn't even bother. Like they just knew, yeah, he's never gonna go up that way because he's got like zero confidence, and it's
there
just
you go.
That's gonna be like the average long bear throw right there. Like it's
that should be available all the time.
It just makes them open like that. Like these are those are your long throws you're getting. Like that's
you need more like that. But even that throw was not kind of. I feel like
and its throws aren't like oh wow these are amazing throws. Like it's just like it's not a good offense, and maybe
he's throwing off his back foot. And he saw that's just a great play on the ball by I think that's Allen Robinson. That's just a great play on the football by him. That's not a fantastic throw, and if he can't consistently be hitting those, he was behind the defender there. If he can't consistently be hitting those throws, the offense is gonna look not great. I'll just say that.
Well,
and by the way, this is
against
the Lions
consistently
team.
Hitting the throws, but like knowing, like a defense just making so that way the defense can know, okay, we can't just straight up ignore guys, but he just doesn't even attempt it. Because if he starts changing it up, it shows he has some sort of weapon. Like I think it's just...
This is a Lions team, by the way, that was just straight up not good last year. Like they weren't like atrociously terrible, but they weren't really good. So these are like this is against the Rams. Good find in open space here, but look at where all these guys are standing. Look where they're all standing. Hold on. When he throws this football against the Rams, I want you to watch where all these guys are standing because they're all clumps.
Not the Rams.
Yeah, no, it's coming. I must have went back a little bit far. Yeah, I went back just a little bit too far. Right here. When he throws this football, watch this. Look where they're all standing. Now, obviously, this is a 3rd and 10 situation, but no one's respecting the fact that he could be going deep. This guy, like they all know. These guys were all standing back there just in kind of in case, but like they knew that the play was going to be in front of them.
And that's the thing. Like, if that was the consistent thing he could do, if he can consistently find these pockets and get the deep play, like then those defenders would be acting differently. Like it's just, yeah. Anyway, that's enough Mitchell Trubisky bashing. Like when he was first drafted, I was really hoping that he would be able to, prove the people wrong. But so far, he's done nothing to prove anyone wrong. He's just getting trampled out there.
And obviously, that's a
He,
highlight video, right, that we're watching. So those are the
yeah,
plays where it
exactly. It's
works
gonna make
out.
it look good.
Go back as a Bears fan. Anybody who's watching this as a Bears fan, genuinely take a step back, think about for a second, and think about your season. How often was Mitch Trubisky or that Bears offense taking the top off of defenses? Before you come in and kill us in the comments and say, oh, you're talking about, these guys aren't respecting the deep pass. Meanwhile, there's two guys, but whatever. Before you go and roast this, take a step back, genuinely think about it. How often did you really feel like Mitch Trubisky or somebody on that offense just took the top off of a defense and they took advantage of it? I'm not talking about a guy got behind him. I'm talking about guy got behind him and he was hit in stride. Show me those clips on a consistent basis. I'm not talking about the one a game, consistently. But that's enough bashing.
The highlight reels are gonna be like 10 and 15 minutes of the best shit you got, and that like 'cause of course it's gonna look good. But that's a team that went 8-8. Like that's not a.
And honestly, I think that if they didn't have as fantastic of a defense as they had, could have been a much different
100%.
season.
If they
That
had an
defense
average defense,
put everything on their back, honestly.
I think half those wins are because of defense. Like it's.
I would say more than half, man. They gave up the fourth least points in the league.
Yeah, that's true.
The other three teams here, all of these teams here, the top 5 teams in scoring, I'm pretty sure they were the only one that didn't make the playoffs. That should say something. The Steelers, I don't think made the playoffs. I think they're the other team that did.
Steelers didn't make the playoffs, but
everybody was hurt. Their quarterbacks were hurt.
Yeah, the thing that the Steelers did is they had all of their their defense just came out of nowhere though. Like their defense, it was not like they were doing whatever, and then somewhere down the line they just turned it on. Like it wasn't they went from nothing to really just top tier defense. So
as a Bears fan, be excited about your defense. I think that they'll continue to show which is such a dominant force that they can be. That offense, pray. I'm praying for you, because at the end of the day, they could turn it around or they could not, and it's completely reliant on how does Mitch Trubisky respond to having Nick Foles there, and what kind of an impact can Jimmy Graham and that rookie whose name has already escaped me because I deleted my notes already.
But that just goes to show you more it's like your whole team is not reliant on this draft. This draft was just so insignificant to them. It's like
yeah, I'm not saying the team. I'm not. By the way, again, off-season rating entirety. The off-season rating in its entirety. As much as we've been talking about the team as a whole and the off-season as a whole, the D+ rating is not for the team going into 2020, and it is not based on the team's off-season. It is only for the draft, and the draft is just simply not that impactful for them this season.
All right, I feel like we said all we need to say.
I agree. I think we dragged this out for as long as we could. So with that being said, make sure to like, comment, subscribe. Check out our social media down in the description below, and join our Discord. We'd love to hear from you guys in our Discord. Maybe give us something that you guys would like to see. Now that we're not posting 2 videos a day, 5 days a week, it's a little bit easier and more manageable for us. So if there is another video idea that you guys tell us that you'd like to see, it would be very feasible for us to be able to make that happen at some point. I did not get to the Arizona Cardinals remake video this weekend. I will get to that at some point, I promise. It wasn't happening this weekend. It wasn't happening. But you have anything else to add, Matt?
No, I think that's about it, really.
All right, so make sure to come back tomorrow and check out his Chicago Cubs preseason video. And other than that, we'll see you next time.
It's like I love the Cubs, but it's gonna be so depressing. But we'll get to that later.
But with that being said, we will see you next time. Peace.